boots on. So we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. On today, January 23rd, 2025. Welcome to everybody. We have a full room. This is an exciting day today, of course, a celebration of the success of our students. My name is Mr. Dan Flores. I have the privilege of serving as your school board president this year, along with my colleagues. And so we'll start this meeting as we do with every meeting. I'll ask Ms. Medina for a roll call. If you will call, roll call attendance, please, Ms. Medina.
Mrs. Flores? Present. Mr. Fuentes?
Present.
Mrs. Haro? Present. Mrs. Sandoval? Mr. Flores?
Present. Go. And I'll just make a quick note. Board Member Thorian Ojeda will not join us tonight. She's feeling a little bit under the weather. And Board Member Ibarra had a bit of a family emergency come up, so he won't be able to join us. But we will continue on. Of course, Dr. Miranda, you'll inform them of anything that happens here at the meeting, and we'll keep them in the loop. But thank you again for those of you that could make it tonight. Hope everybody's staying safe and warm. The winds are still whipping around. And of course, we're thinking about anyone impacted by the fires here locally or out west. So with that, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm looking out in the crowd to see if I see anybody feeling extremely patriotic. Ms. Parachi, I see you. See, she made eye contact. That was the first mistake. I'm going to ask her to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please, Mrs. Parachi. Thank you for that, Mrs. Prachi. Okay. Just a quick note, we do have Spanish language interpretive services for those that may need it. I believe we have an interpreter here tonight. Is Ms. Bueno? Okay.
Thank you, Board President Flores. Good evening to all. Muy buenas noches a todos. Yo soy Cintia Bueno, soy recepcionista y traductora del distrito. Esta noche estaremos ofreciendo servicios de intérprete. Si alguien desea escuchar la reunión completamente en español, simultáneamente puede encontrarme en la mesa trasera y podrán adquirir los dispositivos para hacerlo de esa manera. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Mrs. Bueno. Our first item on the agenda is our adoption of the agenda. We do have some recommended changes to the agenda, and they are as follows. Staff is requesting that we withdraw action item 5.52, which is approval of new classified hourly position, that we amend closed session item 9.5, the personnel public employee appointment discipline dismissal release, to add 1 certificated coach for head varsity swim and 6 volunteer coaches, band, softball, track co-ed, and wrestling co-ed. There's 3 softball coaches, and the addition of 7 volunteers. Those are all the requested amendments to the agenda, Dr. Miranda?
That's correct.
Right. So I'll entertain a motion to adopt the amended agenda.
I'll second then.
Right. Board Member Pat Har with the motion, Board Member Fuentes with the second. Any questions? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Hearing none, it is approved unanimously. All right, this takes us to our special presentations for the evening, and we have a couple of presentations. The first one is our California School Dashboard and California Assessment Student Performance and Progress Perfect Score Celebration, and that is why many of you are here today. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Dr. Peterson to please lead us off.
Okay, good evening, board members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience and community. It is my pleasure tonight to see such an awesome turnout to begin our celebration of excellence of our students and their perfect scores on our CASP English Language Arts and Math for our scores last year. In addition to that tonight, we'll also be recognizing and celebrating those sites who met 1 or more of our 10, 10, 95, 95 goals set by the district. That's 10% on CASP or 10 points on the dashboard, increases in ELA or math, 95% attendance rate or 95% graduation rate. We are first going to start with our students. and our perfect score. So when we call your name, there's a little bit of logistics here. So when we call your name, you're going to come up. You'll receive your certificate. You're going to walk across the floor here. We'll have all the students come up and stand together as we call their names. And then afterwards, we're going to have you take a picture with the board. We also have, tonight we have certificates for you and a medal. And then we also, I want to thank Supervisor Joe Baca Jr. and his representative, Leanne Uribe, for the certificates from Joe Baca Jr.'s office. And so this is from the board, and I'm going to read through our different certificates that we have for our students tonight. So this first one says Joe Baca Jr., 5th District Supervisor, Certificate of Recognition awarded to the student name, the school, CAS perfect score, presented by the San Bernardino County 5th District Supervisor Joe Baca Jr. On behalf of Supervisor Joe Baca Jr. of the 5th District and the County of San Bernardino, it gives me immense pleasure to congratulate you on achieving perfect scores on the CASP assessment. This outstanding accomplishment reflects your dedication, hard work, and exceptional abilities. We look forward to seeing your continued success. Signed, Joe Baca Jr. And so we also have tonight for our ELA students, ELA recognition. If you were here early, you saw them around the board. This award is Colton Joint Unified Certificate of Recognition. This award is hereby presented to student name for achieving a perfect score on the CAPS testing for reading in spring of 2024, and it's signed by our superintendent, Dr. Miranda, and our board president, Mr. Flores. And then the math ones will say the exact same thing, only for math. So we're going to go ahead and get started, because I know that's why you're all here. That's why we're all excited, and that's what we're ready to go. All right, where's my list here? Let me have that one. Okay, here we go. Our first up, and we're going to call the grade that was tested. So as I call they're tested in 3rd grade. They're really 4th graders this year. And so for our first award for 3rd grade in English Language Arts, Sienna Almanza from Ruth Grimes Elementary. Next, our 4th grader for English Language Arts, Les Roach from Ruth Grimes Elementary. In 4th grade, English Language Arts, Grace Nolasco from Ruth Grimes Elementary. In 4th grade for ELA, Carlos Bernal Vasquez. Okay. In 4th grade, Jeanette Reyes from Ruth Grimes Elementary. For 4th grade, Christine Partida, Walter Zimmerman Elementary. Don't see that. Don't see her here tonight. For 5th grade, Gracie Manjarez, Gerald Smith Elementary. For 5th grade, Chase Yaltima for Paul Rogers Elementary. For 5th grade, Paula Vera Ventura for Walter Zimmerman Elementary. No? All right. For 5th grade, Adrian Gonzalez, Ulysses Grant Elementary. For 5th grade, Aaliyah Guerrero for Cooley Ranch Elementary. For 5th grade, Emily Sue, Sycamore Hills Elementary. For 5th grade, Dilpreet Mahal, Sycamore Hills Elementary. For 5th grade, Brenda Alba, Paul Rogers Elementary. For 6th grade, Ify Okafor for Rupa Vista Elementary. And for 11th grade, Desiree Flores from Grand Terrace High School. And again, these are English language arts perfect scores, and now we're going to jump to our math perfect scores. For 3rd grade, for math, Jose Anaya for Rogers Elementary. For 4th grade, Elias Arguello for Grimes Elementary. For 6th grade, Sitlali Barker for Grimes Elementary. Grimes is well represented tonight. For 6th grade, Amy Lycia, Retchie Canyon Elementary. And for 11th grade, Jose Gonzalez from Bloomington High School. So we'd like to take just a moment, if I can, for those of you that are here too, and really thank our teachers who play a big part of a role in that. Thank our teachers that are here. If any teachers that are here, please stand. And a thank you to our parents that are here tonight celebrating in their support of our students. And so congratulations, students, on that. And we're going to have you take a picture with the board. So if the board would like to come up. And
Yep, we'll come on down, take a photo. But we want to, again, congratulate these amazing scholars. And we can't stress enough how proud of we are of each of you. But make sure that you let your parents know, you know, how much you appreciate their support. Because we know that parents and grandparents that are out there too, trust me, I know, because, you know, my mom tells me all the time she has to sit down and help my son with his homework. They're a big part of this too. So thank you for everybody. We're going to go down and take a photo with the scholars.
let Katie figure it out. Katie will figure it out. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Let me announce. I'll do that first. One more hand for our great scholars. Out there. And we're about to award school sites, so please don't get up yet. Please don't get up, parents, yet, till we get a chance to do that. Students, you can go ahead and take your seats. Thank you. So one message for parents and students, the certificate from Supervisor Joe Baca Jr., when you leave, we will have you go out into the hallway and there'll be someone there to get that. We didn't know if we had them in the correct order, so we didn't want to hand out the wrong certificates. So we'll have you get those on your way out, and then I think we want to get a picture out there with you and those certificates when you pick them up. All right, the second part of this is a celebration of our school sites that hit one of the marks of 10, 10, 95, and 95, which is 10% increase in CASP, met or exceeded, or 10 points or more on the dashboard, and 95% attendance, 95% graduation rate. We did not reach the graduation rate. Attendance, we fell just short. I think we're going to have some this year, though, which will be great. But we do have some that met it for the math and English, and so we want to recognize those school sites and congratulate them on such an awesome accomplishment. And so their certificate of recognition that they'll be able to hang up in their office. The certificate is proudly presented to the school site. It's awarded for demonstrating the growth of the number of points they did in English, language arts, or math on the 2024 California School Dashboard, and again signed by Dr. Miranda and Mr. Flores, Board President Flores. And so we're going to call same system, call you up by school, have the school site stand, come up, and then once we're done, we will take a picture with the board as well. All right, so first, for English language arts, the big number for Colton High School, plus 32 points. And this is for dashboard English. So, represented by Principal John Abbott. Do we have any other Colton High School teachers, staff here? They're still working, that's right. That's how they got the 30, their lesson planning. For Grand Terrace High School, and also our first school to be above the standard, plus 30 points, Grand Terrace High School. The principal, neighbors, and a few teachers are here, English teachers are here to accept. For Colton Middle School, 17 points, 17-point increase in CASP ELA, dashboard ELA. Dr. Hibb is here with members of his staff. There we go, world's greatest math teacher. All right, from Joe Baca Middle School, 14-point increase. And I believe the Avid coordinator, Mrs. Lopez, is here tonight to accept their award. For Ruth O. Harris Middle School, a 26-point increase from an ELA. Principal Gonzalez, Assistant Principal Walton, and I think we have some teachers here. And a future Ruth O. Harris Middle School student. From DRC, and DRC, a 15-point increase in dashboard ELA. Principal Muse and one of our teachers. And from Lewis Elementary, an 18-point increase. Principal Bill, assistant principal, and teachers. And from Rogers Elementary, a 12.7-point increase on dashboard. And we have Principal Parachi, assistant principal, and our teacher, and teachers. Congratulations. Good job, everybody. All right, we're going to move to math. And so math, we have, I'm losing my sight here. I got to put my glasses on. Oh, it's much clearer. At Colton High School, a 10-point increase. So not only for math, English, but also math. Colton Middle School, again, 22.5-point increase. DRC Elementary, a 23.4 point increase. And Ruth Harris Middle School with the highest increase, 24.2 increase in math. And so these are the dashboard, which on the dashboard your points away are in front of standard, and so it's all students. And so the other component we're recognizing tonight is a 10% increase in the CASP, met or exceeded. So these are our highest performing students, and they had a 10% increase of students that met or exceeded the standard. And so we have two schools tonight represented here. First is Colton High School with the highest 15.24%. And Grand Terrace High School, 11.49%. And so again, these are our teachers and our staff that work extremely hard for your student success. And so let's give them a hand for all the work that's put in. And again, just thank you for everyone for all the work that you put in, students, parents, everything from us, executive cabinet, Dr. Miranda and the board. Congratulations, and we hope to have many more years of success and grow this so big that we can't house it here. We have to have a separate.
Yep.
Next year, I'm hoping for a separate event.
Awesome. We can do that. Dr. Peterson, we'd love to take a photo with our amazing staff,
Absolutely.
teachers, and administrators. So we'll come on down.
All right, thank you, everybody. So, again, thank you, everybody, and congratulations to everyone. Again, don't forget as you exit to pick up the other certificate from Supervisor Baca. Thank you for being here tonight. There's also water and more cookies out there, too.
And we'll go ahead and take a quick 3-minute break. So I know you guys would love to stay for the whole meeting. We'll probably go till 9 o'clock, but go ahead and get home. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Thank you, students and scholars. You guys are awesome. Okay, we're going to go ahead and reconvene this meeting of the Colton Joe Unified School District Board of Education, and we will go to our next item on the agenda, which is item 2.2, Introduction of New Management. And in order to do that, I will go ahead and ask Dr. Dade to please lead us in this presentation.
Good evening, Board President Flores, board members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our new Child Development Supervisor at San Salvador, Aaron Trice. So Erin brings a wealth of knowledge and experience. Her experience exceeds 2 decades of working in the early educational sector. Her academic background includes an associate's in child development, a bachelor's in child and adolescent psychology, and a master's in early childhood education. Erin feels that her learning journey is never over and she is now working on her second master's degree. That's interesting. In elementary education. Her journey started as a preschool teacher. She's held positions as assistant site supervisors, lead teacher, site supervisor, program director, center director, assistant manager, area manager, head of schools, regional community lead, admissions specialist, team manager, and most recently she was a general manager for Think Together. So you might recognize her. Some fun facts to share with you. And during her downtime, Erin enjoys spending time with her family, her children, Taylor and Jackson, and her husband, Stephen. Erin is also an avid reader and is always on the hunt for an excellent book to dive into. Her goal or rule of thumb is 10 pages a day. So that's amazing. Her favorite book of all time thus far is Beach House by James Patterson?
Yes.
James Patterson. And so that's a great book if you've never read it. I would encourage you to read it. And Mr. Fromm, it's on audiobook as well, because I know you love audiobooks. But before I turn the time over for Erin to address the board, our district supervisor, Joe Baca, would also like to welcome you to the CJUSD family, and he would like me to present you with this certificate. So now I'd like to give Erin some time to address the board.
Good evening, Board President Flores, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the board, executive cabinet, and community members. Thank you so much for the opportunity that has been given to me to join the Colton Joint Unified School District. It is truly an honor to be part of a team dedicated to shaping young minds and building strong educational foundations. Early childhood education has always been my passion, as I believe these formative years are critical for setting children on a path towards lifelong learning and success. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to my mom, who is here with me today, as she has always been my biggest supporter from the start, inspiring me to pursue my dreams. Although my husband and children couldn't be here tonight, they are busy back home doing homework in the high desert. Their love and spirit are with me as well as I embark on this exciting new journey. Thank you again for this incredible opportunity, and I am eager to contribute to the success of the district and make meaningful impact in the lives of our students.
And one more round of applause for Erin, please. And that concludes my presentation for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Dade. We appreciate that. And again, welcome, Ms. Trice. We're excited to have you on board. All right, our next item on the agenda is public comment. Just by way of reference, our board bylaw 9323 regarding public comment is, I believe, listed now on the big screen. So just if you need to reference that, you may. At this time, I do have one public comment speaker card, and I have Ms. Lisa Villa.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Villa, and I reside in Colton. I can't keep up with CJUSD and its shortcomings when it comes to safety. Here I am retired, and I thought I could continue and focus on my mission to advocate for my community by enlightening everyone of all the past unsafe, unfair, non-transparent events and situations myself, students, and staff endured in my 35 years working for CJUSD. But instead, the unsafeness continues. More sad facts continue to happen on our campuses. I feel sorry for our students and staff because the board members and leaders don't take safety seriously. I've been enlightening you for years and still goes in one ear and out the other. It's apparent that safety is not a priority. I speak up so it's documented, just in case, God forbid, something happens. One of our high schools did not have electricity for 3 whole days. Do you know how unsafe that is to not have electricity, let alone in an elementary school? What protocols did you have in place for that emergency? None. The phones didn't work. How was anyone going to call the office if there was a security incident or a medical emergency? The security radios did not work because the repeaters were down. Securities were having to text when there was a fight on campus during this electrical crisis. That is unacceptable. There is no directive on what to do. This district is totally unprepared for any type of emergency. You weren't even prepared for the wind. Elementary kids should not be going to the bathroom in the dark. You failed our students during the pandemic. You had no idea what you were doing, and then didn't even use that opportunity to learn from it. In any emergency, the district should be able to go into distance learning at any given moment because you never know. You are not prepared. I know because I've been in the trenches for decades with CJUSD, and I prayed every single day that nothing bad happened. I knew this district is not prepared. It was me that enlightened you that most of our security didn't even have current CPR. The following day, there was a mandatory CPR class for all security. I shouldn't be bringing up these things to be fixed for the safety of students and staff. Your leaders who get paid big bucks should be on top of this stuff. When substitutes or new teachers or even new students come onto our campus, they should be all required to take the active shooter class. Stop allowing your security managers to make vindictive transfers, which also jeopardizes student and staff safety. You need to know and have rapport with the kids. You shouldn't have taken one of the security from CMS to Colton High. You should have this school year, someone who could identify incoming freshmen. This is vital. Your transfers are vindictive and they endanger the safety and staff of students. I haven't even brought up the Colton High incident on Thursday. You need to make sure that our students are safe. We need somebody in charge of security with law enforcement background. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Villa. And at this time, I don't have any other speaker cards. Do you, Ms. Medina? All right. If not, we'll go ahead and close public comment for this evening, and we'll go into our administrative presentations. Item 4.1 is our California School Dashboard presentation, and I will call on Dr. Peterson. Well, this is a joint presentation, so we have Dr. Peterson and Dr. Ortiz.
Back again. Good evening, Board Member Flores, Board Members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience and community. Let's see if there's as much cheering for this as there was for our students. There we go. It is my pleasure with Dr. Ortiz tonight to present the results of our 2024 California Dashboard to you for the successes that we've had this year with our students and the growth that we've shown. Wrong button. All right, we're going to tag team this. So tonight's presentation will provide some dashboard information, our California Dashboard results, some information on differentiated assistance, and the work in progress and what we're doing to address the continued work that we're doing. And so I'm going to tag team with Dr. O here.
All right. Good evening. So the first slide is just overall. The dashboard was publicly released on November 21st. College and Career Indicator has color for the first time since the pandemic. You'll see that science has status and change, but no color. Color will be used for all categories, but long-term English learners will be status only. And then we'll talk about differentiated assistance as far as status of red in combination with orange in 2 or more priority areas.
my back. All right, so we're going to start with our academic indicators first. And so the first one here is English Language Arts, and I'll spend a little bit more time on this one explaining it so that we can go quicker through the others. You'll notice the first thing you see is the color wheel there with red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. You'll notice the arrow pointing towards yellow. So in English Language Arts for this year, that the color that's representing our scores are yellow. 50.2 points below standard, which is an increase of 6.6 points from last year. And so 3 points plus or minus is 0 to 3 plus or minus is maintained. 6 or higher is or 3 or higher is increased. And so you'll see the yellow status. Really looking for yellow, green, blue as much as we can. But it's also good to grow a color. So if we went from yellow or orange to yellow and red to orange, that also shows growth. And so we'll see that through the different areas here. And then below that, you see the equity report, where the number of student groups that scored in that, which then relate to the right side, which is the list of our student groups, their distance from standard, their increase or decrease or maintained, and then the color there. And so got a big focus on English learners. So as these come up, I'm just going to talk about English learners, and then you'll be able to see the rest here. When we get to the point of talking about differentiated assistance, the color red is important on these, and so you'll see that a little bit further down the road. And so when you look at, as well, when you see the colors for American Indian Pacific Islander that are in gray, the ones that are in gray will either say, will not have a color because there's less than 30 students in the district, and then if there's less than 11 students, you'll just see less than 11, because any fluctuations there can send it really high or really low at one point. And so our English learners, in this case, had a 6-point increase, which is considered a good increase for the year. And so the work that teachers and everyone put in last year to focus on our lesson planning, walkthroughs, and differentiation is supporting the work that's happening. And you'll notice most categories there was positive growth. In math, we had the color of orange, 88.5 points below the standard. We maintained at 2.9 points, just 1/10 of a point away from an increase. And had we had that, we would have been yellow. And so you notice, again, on the right side, our subgroups. Again, if you go down the groups there, the majority of our groups are positive, showing positive growth. English learners had a 1.6 maintained, but still heading in a positive direction. For science, this is the first year that science is being reported on the dashboard. So all you will see is status and change, which is plus or minus the number and increase or decrease. Next year, they will have color for the first time. And so you'll notice our information there. I'm also expecting them to change the standards for science next year. So what the point total means. So they've talked about that in our meetings with them, how they score this will change. So we'll have an update on that next year if that occurs. English learner progress, or sometimes here called the ELPI. We had a status of yellow, 48.2% making progress. We maintained at 1.4%. On state webinars this year regarding the explanation of this dashboard category, the average across the state was a -3. And if you look at our surrounding districts, most of them had a close to -3 as well. So to have an actual increase of 1.4% is a good number for this year. And our college and career indicator, a status of yellow, prepared 31.1%, an increase of 4.3. You see our English learners went up 1.6%. This is, again, CASP is an indicator for this. There's about 15 different ways of getting this, but the biggest one is it can either be things like a career pathway, passing a career pathway, meaning A through G, taking a college class, but all of those also have plus a 2 or a 3 or a 3 or a 4 on CASP. And so this will kind of aligns to our district CASP number. And so we're hoping to, as those go up, that will continue to go up as well. And finally, for the academic pieces, the graduation rate, we're at green now, 87.3% graduated. This is a 4 and 5 cohort, so it's this last year's seniors plus the prior year's senior, any fifth year graduates. It increased 1.3%. Last year, I think I stood up here and said they were moving the deadline for reporting up to June 30th, and we were expecting a possible decline at that point. They moved it instead of August 30th to August 15th. We're still expecting a June 30th at some point. We had 70 to 100 summer grads. So what that would mean is for 1 year, they wouldn't go on that. So we'd have a drop that year, and then they would go on the next year's years. So we're hoping they keep that from happening for a while, but they've been talking about whether it's this year or next year, making that adjustment. And so you can see it there. English learners had an increase of 7.9%, and so we're really working on that, on our graduation rates. And then I think it's time for Dr. O.
So this graph, like Dr. Peterson said, the state looks at bases the colors on what they call a 5x5 color matrix. So it's important to note that when you're looking at suspension rate and then the next one, chronic absenteeism, you actually want the reverse. So on the left-hand side, it looks at status, which is the current year. So for chronic absenteeism, it goes from very low to very high. So you want to be on the very low side, and then across the top on a matrix, it goes from increased significantly to declined significantly. So the opposite is the same as you want low rating on suspension rate and chronic absenteeism. So this compares status from last year, 2023, to 2024. You can see that for suspension rate, we declined. And it did last year, we maintained 0.2, but we declined by 0.9. And you can see the equity report at the bottom in terms of the number of students, student groups in each color. We are moving in the right direction. So this is a comparison looking at the different subgroups for our suspension rate. And you'll notice that on here, this is a measure, again, where decline is positive. So when you see the little D in the suspension rate on the right-hand side of each column, that's what we want to notice. You'll notice that African Americans increased this year, and foster youth also increased, but we did see a decrease in students with disability. And overall, we had 3 subgroups that maintained, 8 that declined, and 3 that increased. The next slide is chronic absenteeism. So 2023 compared to 2024 on the status. We declined last year 9.2, 2 years ago, and then last year an additional 11.4%. And again, you can see the status, the equity report for the groups, again, moving in the right direction, more towards yellow, green, and hopefully blue next year. The next slide just again looks at the various subgroups. You will notice that we had 11 subgroups that declined significantly. 2 subgroups declined, which was foster and Filipino, and 1 subgroup went to orange because not only did they decline, but we're still high as far as having our chronic absenteeism. We have 2 subgroups in green, and all subgroups still are yellow because they're very high. So in order for us to start getting into the range of green and blue, we would need to be 5.1 to 10%. So if we maintain the trend, I believe that we'll get to that point, hopefully at the end of this year for next year. And then the next slide is just our dashboard, the local indicators. These come from a variety of different surveys, the LCAP, the climate survey, parent engagement survey, and happy to report that all of this reporting happened in September, and we were able to meet our goal in those indicators.
Okay, so last 2 years, we've talked about what differentiated assistance is. And so first I want to just highlight, this is kind of the summary of the district level overall results. And so 2 things that stand out when you look at this. Number 1, everything's going in the right direction. So everything that's supposed to increase is increasing. Everything that's supposed to decrease is decreasing. I think that deserves a hand. So something to be celebrated, good growth, and a lot of work from every stakeholder in the district that's gone into that and all of our partners. The next slide shows, again, a summary of all of the subgroups. Notice I've highlighted 4 subgroups, and so when we're talking about differentiated assistance, I'll talk a little bit about that. Remember, you qualify for differentiated assistance. English and math count as 1 category, and then all the other ones count it each individually as one. And so 2 subgroups, either a red and an orange in English and math, or a red and a red, plus one other red would qualify you for differentiated assistance. So you see English learners, you don't see the second red, and I'll explain that in a minute. Foster youth, you see English and math and then suspension rate. Students with disabilities, English red, math orange, and then the red in college and career. And then our African American subgroup, again, orange and red, English and math, and then suspension rate. And so what does that mean? That means those are our subgroups that we qualify for differentiated assistance. If you remember, 2 years ago, we had, I think, 6 subgroups in. Last year, we were able to drop it to 2, and then this year, we're back to 4. These are, I think, every school across the county is working with these subgroups, and so these are the ones that I think, you know, we're not struggling, but we're working on, and so we may see these come back and forth for a while we're working to improve what we provide in our district. And so English learners, you will notice, did not have 2 reds. When you go into differentiated assistance, you're in it for 2 years, so you have to show 2 years growth. So they're considered the one group that's in year 2 next year. If we show growth next year, they come out of differentiated assistance. Students with disability was in last year. They start over again year 1 because we're still in it. And so, and then foster youth and our African American subgroups have gone into differentiated assistance. And so they're now start that 2-year process. What are the requirements? So we attended a webinar overview of the process that's going to happen on January 15th. On February 5th, we're actually taking 2 teams. We're one of the few districts that most districts work on one area, even though they have more than one. We're actually taking 2 because we want to make sure we're working as hard as we can to get out of these areas. So we're taking 2 teams, one for the African American group, one for the special education students with disabilities group. We're already working with our English learners, and we're continuing to do that, so none of that work has stopped. And then we're going to concentrate at our district on how we can address our foster youth. And so that meeting that day, we go through a root cause analysis of why this is happening. We set some goals. We create a PDSA cycle, which is similar to the work that we do in our district when it comes to like our TEL process and things like that. So it's in line with what we're doing, so it's not necessarily adding a bunch of things to our teachers and all of that. It's trying to take what we can do and how can we make tweaks and make some course corrections in order to show improvement throughout the year. And so the goal is to show growth for the 2-year cycle, so they no longer qualify. And then last part of this is how are we addressing that, and how are we addressing our indicators. And so for English, math, and English learners, again, we've really focused these last 2 years on lesson planning walkthroughs. There's a big focus, especially on in-class support, and using EL strategies or differentiated strategies, which is good for all of our learners. We have several literacy programs going to support our students in writing and reading. And then through math, we've been focusing on the building thinking classrooms, and some of our elementaries are now picking up on some of those strategies. We continue to offer letters training. We continue to offer QTEL and GLAD professional development for teachers that haven't had that, and so we will continue with those items as well. Just to give you a quick look at our assessment data for this year. When we looked at this last year, we saw like either maintaining or actually dropping at the winter from the prior year. This year, we actually see growth in all different areas. Although small, it is growth. There's been a lot of things happen this year that's affecting instruction, but even showing growth here, hopefully it translates. Look what last year translated to, and so we're hoping this translates to even more growth in CASP this year. And then our DIBELS training is being administrated right now. For the college and career, we are still offering our dual enrollment college with local colleges. We've expanded the early college program to all of our high schools. We'd be happy to know that the majority of our students at Colton High School and Grand Terrace High School are sticking with the program and had extreme success last semester. And so we're going to get that data to you. We're putting it together right now in a future board correspondence, so you can see where we're at. And Bloomington High School's in their second year of that, and we still have students that are doing great in that program. We still have open access to our advanced placement courses, and then we're doing work with our counselors and with a continued focus on A through G, and working with local colleges on that as well. And then for graduation rate, we expanded last year from 12th graders for Mission 220 to 7 through 12 with our interventions. We're going to be moving that down at some point to K-12, so that we have Mission 220 and beyond, and that conversation starting in kindergarten, so students are aware all through their journey that they need 220 credits to graduate. And so we'll be talking to you about that in the future. And then again, working on those differentiated instructional strategies. And then we're providing, through our TEL project as executive cabinet, we saw some inconsistencies with the system regarding some of our records and how students check in, check out. And so that's one of our, we've decided, we looked at the graduation rate, and so one of our projects is this. And so during that time, we're now bringing in and developing a records handbook and bringing our records teams together to make sure that we can decrease the dropout rate, and there's support there when a student or a parent determines that they want to leave the district. And Dr. O.
Just in terms of chronic absenteeism, the table at the top is just a comparison of where we've been, where we're heading. So that last column, 24-25, represents just where we were at semester one and our ADA rate, again, compared to last 3 years, and then where we are currently at the end of semester one. Right now, we have 4,000 chronically absent students. We've conducted 54 SARTs, 127 home visits, and we have 63 SARB contracts. And those are important. I think ultimately practices, we hired an additional community liaison. We are fully staffed, so I think that's been helpful. School sites do an amazing job of motivating students through the district incentives that we have to come to school. We have monthly attendance tech meetings, so that collaboration and connection with the school sites in terms of trying to support our attendant techs there. I think ultimately when you think of chronic absenteeism, all the research shows, and I said this last year, is connections, relationships to families. So when we think about home visits, that's important, but also SART and SARBs, having a mentality or perspective of we're there to help remove barriers. So we try not to focus on the negative of the punishment of that, but more so how can we help our families, and I do believe that that has made a big difference for us. So lots of work at the school sites. When you saw the comparison table, I didn't highlight that enough. We had 11 subgroups, a double-digit decline. So there's a lot of work in time in there that we need to recognize and celebrate from our staff. As far as the suspension rate, we are on a downward trend. Ending semester one, we were at 2.4%. So we continue to hope that continues. You can see some breakdown suspensions for our significant subgroups, the ones that we greatest number in our district. In there, we just continue to provide training, information, and guidance for PBIS, bullying, sexual harassment. We do have our kindness and respect campaigns, and that normally we highlight in October, but we know that we revisit that often. We did this year, last year, and continue this year with part two, take our administrators through restorative practices, because again, it's not just about looking at the punishment. Ed Code's very clear that suspension should only be used when it's the only method to resolve the problem. So school sites focus, administrators focus on those restorative practices, so that includes all of our principals. They did attend that training, so I think that will help. Not to mention the mental health support from Mr. Costo and his team. I think that matters. Again, not just focusing on the punishment, but what's the learning and support that student needs. Our wellness centers, we have one at every high school now, both the comprehensive and the alternative, and we did get the grant to hire wellness center coordinators at the middle school, so we're working on that as well. Counselors, we have one at every elementary site in our middle school and high schools, the SEL lessons. Our security staff and our SROs are amazing. They are focused on building, again, relationships and connections to our students. I just talked to our SRO at CMS yesterday. He has a door decorating contest just to kind of build that support. So we have an amazing group of our law enforcement officers who are here for the right reason and build that connection. That's important because a lot of the safety things can come through, and it worked the other day, which gets overlooked from our campaign of see something, hear something, say something. And that system, that process does work, and we responded appropriately. And that also includes the addition of one SRO for the Bloomington area. So we do believe that all of that makes a difference towards lowering our suspension rate. And our students with disabilities, we do have a special education task force. They are addressing least restrictive environment achievement for our students with disabilities and positive student outcomes. We are supporting the co-teaching efforts at Grand Terrace High School, supporting increased mainstreaming at the elementary school, reviewing the effectiveness of our RSP support at the secondary level, and supporting middle school inclusion at the PE, the physical education area, and supporting PE inclusion. We also did part of a compliance and improvement monitoring. So we have a SIM committee, and that created a 2-year plan to address preschool students and trying to get them more access to the regular education classes, which is important. So, and that's it. Dr. Peterson will address any questions you have.
And I just, if you can just say, I'd like to thank all, again, everybody, administrators, teachers, especially those that, are in the classroom in front of our students for the work that they do day in and day out.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson and Dr. Ortiz. A lot of information obviously in here, so I want to go ahead and kick it over to the board for any questions or comments you might have. There's a lot that was covered. Good information, and I'm sure we probably have some questions and feedback, but any board members have any questions for staff? Sure, please. Board Member Fuentes.
I'm just excited to see how everything's looking. So congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. We're going the right way, and that's just exciting. And another hand to our teachers, the staff, administration, everyone for doing what they're doing. And that's my comment, man. I'm excited. Thank you.
Board Member Haro, please.
I have a question. I know that the co-teaching is working really well at Grand Terrace High School. We're seeing good results with that. And I know that Terrace Hills is going to start with the co-teaching. And it's been so successful at Grand Terrace, and I know Sarita coming from there is bringing that over there. Are we looking at doing that at any of the other sites, being that it has been so successful?
From Mr. Pearson's department, Ms. Haro, I think training and mindset matter. So I think ultimately going district-wide, but going slow at a pace that it's a commitment, and you have to be ready for it and willing. And I think we have some schools that are doing really well and ready, and Mr. Pearson and his team are working with those schools to do that, but also our mainstreaming at the elementary, and like I mentioned, the middle school mainstreaming at physical education help towards changing that mindset and trying to get that idea of co-teaching inclusion out there. So it is effective when done right, and that's what we want to do, is take our time to do it right.
Thank you.
Okay, on slide number 7, where it shows the English language arts, and slide number 8, the math. This dashboard picture is the same for each individual school in our district. Is that correct?
Each school site gets their own dashboard.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they get their own.
They get their own.
But not the same numbers.
Right. Okay, and I'm just wondering, where do they go from here? Do they collaborate? Do they analyze, or what happens after this is shared with the staff?
We've had the last 2 principal meetings where we've worked with our principals. One brought in data to look at this and how to make and talk about course correction, and how to, meaning course correction, meaning what's something you can do now and 3 months from now in testing, because one of the things, like with differentiated assistance, it's a year long, but it's January to January. And so right now, we have to put things in place that in 3 months will move the needle to move those groups out of differentiated assistance. And so we believe, like, we get these scores over the summer as far as we can take a fair guesstimate of it. And so we really plan out the year with that in mind. And so that's why we continue to offer the trainings that we do on breaks. This coming spring break, we have QTEL training occurring. So we continue with that. Each school site is meeting with executive cabinet starting tomorrow, each administrator, and they're coming in with their plan for testing and their plan leading up to testing, and then what course correction based off their data are they making between now and then to what can they do between now and then to make quick improvements. And so those conversations are happening, and then really the year-long plan that we have is directed to keep moving forward.
And what are we doing as a district to support staff as our testing is getting closer? What are we doing, for them?
We've had our data team, who's here, our data coordinators, go out to the sites, and they go through a data chat and with the leadership teams and look at their maps and dibbles or maps and iReady data and provide that information to them. We've brought teachers in and done training on, there was a elementary math training done on the IABs, which is the previous questions on previous tests that prepare you for CASP. And so our teams are working and our school sites are working on that, and as they're going through that. So those are the types of things that we're doing to support right now. I mean, all of our CPSs, we meet with the TOAs at each site. Every so often, we have the literacy task force that's consistently meeting and implementing new things. And then one thing I didn't mention is we just got finished with our TEL presentation. So we have Teaching for Effective Learning. It's the PDSA cycles that we do at some sites or TEL. And everyone that's involved in that, each group, whether it's a grade level or a team, has an inquiry question. They're basically, if we do this, what's going to happen with the data? So they're constantly looking at data, constantly tweaking, so that we're not just sticking with something that's not working. So they'll try something. If it works, they'll stick with it. If it doesn't, over like a 2-month period, if it doesn't, they're able to kind of throw it out and say, okay, that didn't work, so what's next? And so we have that kind of research and conversations happening across the district.
If I can add one thing to what Dr. Peterson said is, she mentioned the principal meetings.
Yes.
One of the objectives is to ask principals what kind of support you need as testing comes up. Yeah. So that's I kind of already, so principals, if you're out there, just be ready for that, because we'll ask that, what support, and then I lied, so just number 2, Executive Cabinet attends every principal meeting and sits here and participates in not only the learning, the PD, the professional learning, and looks at the data as we, and then we sit around with the school sites. Of course, they go off in their groups to talk about it. So we are intimately involved in the meetings. So that's been an expectation from me, from Executive Cabinet. So we're going to 3 days of meetings with all our principals in the next week to, again, ensure that they're on track and how do we support. Because we don't know, every school site's a little different, and we don't want to, a blanket give everybody the same when some school might need this and that, and so that's our objective in the next couple of days. So.
That's wonderful, thank you. And also, when the testing window opens, are we going to make sure that principals are not pulled away from the site to make sure that they're at the site during testing? And also, are their bell schedules tweaked to?
Depends on the site. They, again, do what's best for the students. But for secondary, we do have minimum days at the middle school because that's where the issue seemed. The other schools can work it through their school day. So yeah, usually there's a testing block of time, and so they adjust accordingly.
Okay, thank you. And also on slide number 20, where it has the multicolored, you have 4 highlighted: English learners, foster youth, students with disabilities, and African American. I don't see LTELs highlighted. That group has been historically, very difficult to move. Can you explain, I know I missed that, how the LTELs compare to the English learners?
Highlighted are the ones that we're in differentiated assistance for, and that's all the highlighted meant. For the LTELs, this year and next year, they don't qualify because this is the first time reporting.
Oh, okay.
Us a little bit of time to make adjustments, and so language support is working on that. And as we've been continually working on the English support for English learners, so we'll continue doing that. And so we actually broke the norm this year too. With if you look at math and English, they both increased 11 points. That's not the norm around where that occurred, and so. So we're working on that. And an LTEL, for those that's long-term English learner, it's those that have been have been considered an EL for seven or more years.
This is the training that we have been providing. Glad to see that, the professional development happening for English learners, but also for all the kids. And then on the next one, sorry, slide 25, we have the district assessment data. How does that align with what we're seeing on the dashboard?
So I would say MAPS is probably better. The MAPS secondary assessment is probably better aligned to that. I-Ready has been some differences each year, but they're supposed to be aligned to that as well. And then DIBELS is really the reading fluency, so it's telling how well our readers are performing.
That's it. Thank you so much, and thank you for the presentation, and congratulations to your department and to all the school sites.
Thank you.
Thank you. A couple of quick questions, and I want to thank Board Member Flores. So very good questions, and I want to just build off one of the questions that she was talking about particular groups and the sites. To what degree do the sites get to decide, hey, we really want to focus, say, for example, on math with this particular subpopulation that's a target? I mean, obviously, we want to support all students, and we will. All students will get access to great support, but to be able to really go in and focus and say we have a large population of foster youth in our elementary school this year, so we really want to focus on providing them with support. Is that something that they can do? Is that something that we'll be able to support them with?
Yeah, so part of the beauty of this now is it all aligns, and so they have the SIPSA school plan for student achievement that every site has to do, and they have to literally address the reds and things on their dashboard. And so you'll see those things that they're focused on there. So with that comes their Title I money. They have LCAP funds. So they're allowed to use that funding for the need. Like every school's different. So they use that funding for their needs. And that's part of the PD or professional learning process we're doing with TEL and all of that. Is each school is different. Each grade level is different. And so they're able to focus in on that and on their collaboration days. That's what they're supposed to be working on, is determining what it is that we need to focus on. And so what we do as a district is like, for example, foster youth, most school sites aren't going to have enough foster youth to register, but that's a key component because as a district, we need to move the needle on that. And so we'll support them by identifying, here's a list of kids at your school that are foster youth. Make sure you're focusing on it. At some point, whether it's tutoring or things like that, we can have schools are able to target students that represent these subgroups as well, to provide, whether it's tutoring, support, things like that.
I appreciate that, and I think the question arises from, in any organization, you have to set goals, priorities, And I think the concern is, we all want to help everything. We want everything in the organization to move up, all the indicators. But if your goal is to fix everything at once, you usually end up fixing nothing, right? We've all been in those meetings where we all raise our hand and we put 10 priorities, and the next thing you know, right, you never really get anything done because you have to be focused. And it's okay. I mean, I think the message to our staff and our administrators and certainly even our teachers you have to take this one step at a time, right? The old adage, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you can go in and focus on one group. Again, we're not neglecting the other groups, but it's okay to put extra emphasis, because once we solve that, we can move on to the next and to the next. So I just want to stress that this sense that we've got to solve it all at once overnight, it's not going to happen, and it's not a good approach from any organizational standpoint. Whether you're running a business or whether you're teaching kids in a school district, you have to have a focused approach. So
I'm not
that's
a
key.
promoter of putting out, directives and things like that. And so, other than when they come from the DOJ.
Yeah,
So,
have to do it.
because I don't want to end up in DOJ jail. So, so other than that, we really,
Sorry.
might
all be there. It was just that's a bad joke about this administration. Let me jump over to chronic absenteeism, because that's certainly something that's been a big focus for us, because the truth is, if the students aren't in school, they can't learn. So first off, of the roughly 4,200 that we've identified chronically absent this first semester, do you have a rough breakdown, elementary versus secondary? Do we know what the ratio might be?
I can get that information. The ironic thing, I think when you look at ADA, our middle school and high schools have the higher ADA, and it's the way that we track that, or the state measures that. So most of the chronic absenteeism is seen in the elementary schools, Mr. Flores, but I can get that information breakdown.
That'd be great if you could break it down by elementary, middle, and high school. And I think just intuitively for those of us, for anybody that's a parent, and there's a difference between a kindergarten not getting to school and a junior in high school. Not to say that they don't have their challenges, but in one instance, a young child is 100% reliant on a parent getting them there, and the other could be, hey, I'm dropping my kid off at school. She never seems to make it through the door. So that's a different issue. It requires different intervention. So I think that's important for us to know, because then we can look at where we need to focus our efforts. The other question I had is, for the home visits, who actually conducts the home visits? Which staff are assigned to go and do those home visits?
Our community liaisons.
Yeah.
Also our probation officer. So she does most of the follow-up with our SARB contracts, because I think that's important. It's not about the number of SARB contracts or SARB meetings we have, it's the additional follow-up that happens. But we're also talking, though, Mr. Flores, from a district level, from a division level. We have those home visits, but that's not counting the home visits that individual sites could be conducting on their own, in addition to what the division's doing. And then the other nice thing is Antonio Castro, he has interns who work with student services, and they help with those home visits, because again, it's removing barriers. So from a mental health standpoint, so they also help. But that's a lot of collaboration to make sure that we're addressing a variety of different needs that we might encounter when we go to the house.
So, and I appreciate that. So it sounds like are there more home visits than that may be happening that are not recorded here? These are the ones that are done at the site level? Is that what you're sharing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one thing. And then we had 2 retirements for our community liaisons, so refilling those just takes time. So we're probably a little bit behind, but confident the staff will continue to kind of get out there and make those visits.
So, and how many positions do we have?
3. We have 3 right now.
Plus our probation officer, which is 1. So that's a team of 4. And when you see over 4,000 students, I mean, there aren't enough days between the August and December semester to hit all those doors. I mean, it's the number of people that we would need to effectively connect with 4,000 families is pretty astounding. But at the same time, those contacts are really important, because some of those problems may be relatively simple that we could help solve, but we're just not getting to them. I imagine we're not getting to a lot of folks simply because we don't have the personnel. Is that accurate to say?
It is, and I think that kind of going back to what you said before, it's knowing your population. So knowing your numbers. So being able to look at your chronic absenteeism numbers, which we do share out, and trying to prioritize which are those students that probably need the most support. So that comes from connection and principals or admin knowing, teachers knowing their students, their community, to know who needs the most help. So you try to kind of set your efforts out on those kind of families. But you're right, it's a lot, so we do rely on staff, the school sites as well, to do their part as far as trying to conduct those home visits. We also have community liaisons at some of the school sites. So I imagine at those school sites, they're conducting those home visits and targeting those families that they know that they can reach. And then the family also has to be willing to accept that support. So that matters as well. So the other thing, getting back to what you were saying originally with the goals, I think overall what you see in the district, what you look for my short time, my year in research and accountability, is that it's the small incremental growth that means a change in systems. So when you see big jumps, that could be from a structural change that happened in the organization. When you see that kind of incremental growth, what you're seeing here, that's the actual system changing. So it says a lot because you have to know what like you said, you have to know what to focus on and where you're going to make that biggest jump, but it's also having a concerted focus and knowing what you're going to focus on and participating in looking at the data. All those things matter, and that's what you see overall in our data. So that's a good thing, is it's a system change that you see happening.
I would be very curious, and appreciate that, and I would be very curious if there's a way to get some feedback from the sites as to what are some of the primary reasons, concerns, issues they're encountering as they're talking to families and hearing why they're having trouble getting their kid to school. My instinct is to ask why, right? As a parent that has 3 kids, and pretty soon it'll be high school, middle, and elementary, and it's not easy to get them up and out, but there is no reason, right, in our household, and in my mind as a parent, you're going to school. I mean, short of being very sick, obviously, you're going to school. But I also understand as a professional that runs a domestic violence shelter and works with homeless families, I also understand life happens, and there's reasons why kids may not be able to make it to school. I really would like, it would be helpful for me, and I think all of us, to know what are the challenges our families are facing, because we ultimately have to be the ones to direct resources and say we want to focus on getting some funding or focus on providing support. Is it housing? Is it health? Is it transportation is a barrier? And we're seeing a lot of that. So again, it's probably all of those things and many more, but if there's a way that we can get some feedback and identify these appear to be the top 3 reasons why families are struggling, that would be helpful. I would appreciate knowing that, because then we can start talking about potential solutions.
Yeah, a couple of things. We hope that also we have 10 schools that are applying for the community schools grant. So that is all about what's needed at those 10 school sites. So they write the grant based on their needs and what the needs assessment showed. I think the other thing that's been helpful, Mr. Flores, just speaking in general, because I wasn't here before COVID, but we stopped systems or things that we did before. So I think getting back, student services meets with our attendance tech, so has those job-alike meetings. Because like you said, us connecting with them and making sure we're all on the same page and what are some things that they need. Because you have a lot of attendance techs who obviously make those daily phone calls. So there's a lot of work happening at the school sites that is, again, reflected in these numbers. We're a small but mighty department or division that does a lot, but a lot of the work comes back from the school site and then making that connection, those phone calls, finding out what parents need what, and then connecting with Antonio's team, Rob's team, Missy's team to start addressing some of those, again, barriers, those needs, and obstacles that keep them from getting to school. So that could be medication. So us knowing that helps them work with the nurse. It's all really connected.
Getting them enrolled in Medi-Cal, right? It's something as simple as that. And they don't understand the process because English isn't their first language. And yeah, IHP is great, but when you call that hotline, if you don't know what to ask for, it's difficult to navigate that system. It could take months. So there could be lots of things. And again, I'll go back to housing, transportation, things that I deal with on a daily basis where we're having to drive kids to school. Sometimes school's impacted, so instead of going to school across the street, we have to drive them all the way to North San Bernardino, but you know what, we're going to get them there. But for a parent that doesn't have transportation and you're told that you enrolled your kid too late, the school's impacted, you've got to go 5 miles north of here, well, this kid just doesn't go to school then, right? So we want to know those things so that we can figure out ways to address it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Mr. Flores. I think that's where it starts, is that understanding that there's trauma, there's things happening in a household, and even having that empathy and understanding of how can we help you, as opposed to how are we going to punish the family or the child, because changing that mindset to me, that's the start. You have to find out, how do I help? How can I help? So.
Well, I appreciate it. Obviously, I think this is a topic we could talk for hours and hours about. It's really important. But I want to thank you again. Any other closing comments or questions from board members? All right. Well, thank you for the presentation. And again, I'm sure we'll be continuing to address this. Dr. Miranda, thank you. All right. That takes us to our action items for this evening. There are a few items that we do need to pull for separate consideration. So let me make a note of that. Item 5.3, 5.9, and 5.10 we'll be pulling for separate consideration. So are there any other items that board members would like to pull? Yes. Please.
Yes, I would like to pull 5.13, 5.14, and 5.15.
I have 5.13, 5.14, and 5.15. Thank you, Board Member Flores. Any other items? Okay. What we will do then is I will go ahead and entertain a motion for the balance of the agenda items, with the exception of the items that have been pulled, which are as follows: 5.3, 5.9, 5.10, 5.13, 5.14, and 5.15. Motion by Board Member Fuentes. Second by Board Member Flores. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition, any abstentions? Hearing none, they are approved. All right, we'll go ahead and take these in order if that's okay. So we'll start with item 5.3. Just need a motion and a second for item 5.3. I'll motion that. Okay. Is there a second? Second. Motion by Board Member Fuentes and second by Board Member Haro. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? One abstention. Board Member Sandoval. It is so ordered. Approved. Great. All right. Next item is item 5.9 and item 5.10. We do need to take these separately. And these are both contract approvals, renewals for assistant superintendents. 5.9 is our assistant superintendent of human resources. And bear with me, I'll need to read briefly here the summary contents of the contract renewal. And again, this is contract renewal for assistant superintendent of human resources. Dr. Brandon Dade, term is July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. Annual salary is $255,118 per year, pursuant to the attached salary schedule. Annual work year is 222 days. District-provided vehicle for the assistant superintendent's use. And fringe benefits include health insurance, the same medical and dental insurance benefits offered to the other 12-month certificated management employees, and sick leave 14 days per fiscal year. At this time, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve this contract.
I'll motion.
Okay. Motion by Board Member Fuentes. Second by Board Member Sandoval, and this will be a roll call vote, so I will go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Medina for the roll call vote.
Ms. Sandoval?
Yes.
Mr. Flores?
Yes.
Mrs. Haro? Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mrs. Flores?
Yes.
The item is approved. Item 5.10 is the contract renewal for the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services. And again, I will go ahead and read the summary contents of the contract, and this is for Dr. Anthony Ortiz, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services. Term is July 1, 2025 through June 30th of 2028. Annual salary is $248,895 per year, pursuant to the attached salary schedule, an annual increase of 2.5% per year. Annual work year is 222 days, district-provided vehicle for the assistant superintendent's use, and the Fringe benefits include health insurance, which is the same medical and dental insurance benefits offered to the other 12-month certificated management employees, and sick leave of 14 days per fiscal year. At this time, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve this item.
I'll move.
Motion by Board Member Fuentes. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Haro. And this is a roll call vote, so I will go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Medina.
Mrs. Flores? Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mrs. Sandoval?
Yes.
Mrs. Haro? Mr. Flores?
Yes. Thank you. The item is approved. And that takes us to item 5.13, which has been pulled for separate consideration. We'll start with a motion and a second, and then we'll open it up for questions or comments.
A motion?
Second.
Wonderful. Motion by Board Member Flores, second by Board Member Fuentes, and I will turn it over to Board Member Flores.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say that we saw some really positive results today with our students being recognized in the schools, and I attribute that to one thing, very important thing that we do here, and it is that has the greatest impact on student achievement, and that is professional development. And I pulled this item because I see a couple of schools. One of them, it just happens to be Grand Terrace, who is bringing training on literacy from the University of Florida. And this school will be training all TK to second grade teachers. And I know there are other schools that have received this training as well. And we all know that literacy is extremely important, and you know, our kids deserve the best professional development. And I just want to say that I'm very glad to see this, this training. Also, there is a, let's see, what else is, I also see building thinking classrooms here. And I was under the assumption that it was just for middle schools, but it's not. It's also, it's for everybody. The upper grades? 4th, 5th, and 6th, okay. Okay, and well, I've seen, I mean, I know Dr. Peterson and I have seen some really great things at the middle schools, and now we have some teachers at another school site at an elementary level receiving this training. So I just wanted to emphasize how important that is, and how we are definitely on the right track, bringing these consultants and working with our teachers. And two things I think that are key when we when we select this professional development or professional learning is, number one, we need to get teacher input. The teachers, when they say, hey, you know what, we need literacy and training, or we need math training, we need to listen to them, and also, once they receive the training, is make sure that these strategies they're learned are being implemented consistently, and we will get great results. So that's what I just wanted to say about our professional learning plan.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. We do have a motion, Board Member Flores, and a second, Board Member Fuentes, for item 5.13. So at this time, I'll ask all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, it is approved unanimously. And that takes us to 5.14.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Okay, wonderful. Do we have a second? I'll second that. All right, motion by Board Member Flores, second by Board Member Fuentes, and I'll turn it over to Board Member Flores.
Okay, well, this deals with parent involvement. A couple of schools are bringing parent empowerment and a family engagement program to their schools. And again, a key component for our students' success is parent involvement. So I applaud the school sites, the principals that are bringing these programs to your schools, and also have a plan on how you're going to continue. After this training, how are we going to continue bringing our parents on board to make them true partners of students' education? So I'm glad to see that.
Excellent, thank you. We do have a motion, Board Member Flores, and a second by Board Member Fuentes for item 5.14. This time, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously. All right. And our last item that we've deferred is item 5.15.
Yeah, motion.
Second.
Keep it rolling. Board Member Flores and seconded by Board Member Fuentes. Excellent. I'll turn it over to Board Member Flores.
Okay, yeah, and this one is dealing with the Abbott Summer Institute. Again, this is a program that has tremendous success in our schools. And I, for a board member, fully support this program for the high schools, for the middle schools, and some elementaries that may be joining us. So these are all items that I'm just extremely proud of, and as for myself, have my full support. Okay.
Thank you for that. And again, I'll ditto that. I think many of us feel the same way about the AVID program. We've seen the impact that it's had on our students, the success they've had. So thank you for that. And also, I'll just make a note. I appreciate that they're being listed now by school site on the agenda. So it makes it a little easier for us to see which school sites, and not only that, but the cohorts and the number of folks and who's actively involved in professional development. So I appreciate that. Thank you for that format. We do have a motion by Board Member Flores and a second by Board Member Fuentes to approve item 5.15. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, it is approved unanimously. Thank you for that. And that moves us along to our administrative reports. Any questions or comments with respect to our administrative reports, items 6.1 through 6.9? All right, hearing none, that takes us to facilities updates, which we do not have this evening. And so, ACE, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Mrs. Parachi, our president of ACE.
I have two microphones now. Good evening, Board President Flores, Board Members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience. My name is Christina Parachi, and I have the privilege of being President of the Association of Colton Educators. Tonight, I want to begin by extending my heartfelt gratitude to all the staff members who went above and beyond during the recent challenges faced by our schools, particularly those involved impacted by the power outage at Bloomington High, Terrace View Elementary, Grand Terrace Elementary, Grand Terrace High School, and Terrace Hills Middle Schools. Your resilience and unwavering dedication to keep our schools running and ensuring that our students were supported did not go unnoticed. From teachers finding innovative ways to continue instruction in a dark and cold room, to classify staff ensuring operation run smoothly under difficult circumstances. And I do have to say kudos to Phil. I don't know his last name, but everywhere I went, he was there. I'm like, how are you at 4 schools in the same day? So I don't know, I think he has some way of getting to the schools before I was going there. Oh, they cloned them. Okay, we found it, good. I'm glad that somebody answered because I was questioning my sanity that he was there at every school that I went when I visited the schools. And to Executive Cabinet for keeping us informed during this time and working closely with the association. You all have demonstrated that it truly means to work as a team for the good of our students. The recent power outage also highlighted the importance of having adequate resources and support. Moving forward, it is essential that we focus on ensuring manageable workloads, like for Phil, and timely access to essential supplies. This effort will empower our educators and staff to continue providing exceptional services, both in a routine and unexpected situation that it looks like is going to be every January deal in some of the schools with the power. I want to emphasize the importance of collaboration. We have been collaborating, and the challenges that we faced were navigated a little bit easier by having a constant collaboration with our members and with the association, with the executive cabinet. I do want to go to my next one. On a celebratory note, congratulations to all the schools that achieved high scores on CASP assessment. Their hard work and commitment, it was really truly commendable. I'm also thrilled to see so many retired teachers returning to serve as substitutes to our schools. If you saw on the board agenda, 36 are coming back. Not all of them are retired, but a lot of those names were retirees. I talked to some of them, and they said, I am bored. I need something to do. But they like being able to come when there is electricity and stay home when there is no electricity. Their experience and dedication continue to make a significant impact to the school site coming back. Thank you again to everyone who worked tirelessly during these recent challenges, and I'm looking forward to working together with the district and Dr. Ortiz to come up with a plan for future unforeseeable situations. Thank you.
Brachi. CSEA update. Do we have a representative from CSEA? Oh, please come forward.
I didn't have anything prepared. I wasn't expecting to say anything tonight. Christina kind of stole what I was going to say. I want to take the opportunity to thank the district. It's not everywhere you get to go work where you have a mutual respect with all stakeholders. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to sit at the same table with, always love collaborating with Dr. Dade, Greg Fromm, everybody, Kathy, Eric. I don't think we give enough recognition. We're not always going to agree, but we value each other's opinions. Secondly, I don't know, I'm running the risk of Anthony probably not wanting me to come back and speak. Meeting after meeting, I sit there and I cringe a little bit at the public comment section of the meetings. I don't believe there's anybody here in the CJUSD family that does not put students, them being successful, their safety at the utmost importance. This is coming from me, not CSEA, recognizing, well, I don't call him out. His name rhymes with John Sachs. Again, don't always agree with everything. We're going to have differences of opinions. There's no doubt in my mind he has student safety as the utmost importance. We had a school bus accident about a week ago. He was there about 3 minutes after I was. And I was, what are you doing there? You got more important stuff to do, I'm sure. No, he was right there, making sure the students were fine, making sure parents weren't coming and picking them up when they're not supposed to. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for doing what you do. Every board meeting does not have to be a bashing of other members of our staff here. So I don't know, I probably should have done this in the public comment section, but I just want to throw it out there that, again, looking forward to continue working and having this great relationship that keeps getting better and better throughout the years with the new administration that's coming in. You guys are putting the right people in the right places. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and we absolutely agree. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, MAC update. Happy New Year. Love it. Love it. All right. ROP update. Have you had a meeting? No meeting. Okay. All right. That takes us to Superintendent's communique. Dr. Miranda.
Yes, thank you, Board President. Got something. I got a couple slides here, not in the back, but we got them here on the side. I wanted to start off with our annual Science and Engineering Fair, our STEAM Expo. I'm just thrilled to announce the 37th annual CJUSD Science Fair STEAM Expo, which will be held Saturday at Colton High School. So it was planned for Bloomington, but there's some issues there with outage, so we're going to do it at Colton High School. It's going to be great. The event is going to feature a STEAM Expo from 8:30 to 12 p.m., showcasing over 50 tables with engaging activities and information presented by CJUSD Pathways, colleges, and industry partners. We're going to have our Carpenters Union out there representing, and so it's going to be exciting to see all these folks there. The Science Fair itself will spotlight the incredible work of our elementary and secondary students who have designed and presented outstanding science fair projects. continuing our hybrid format via the Z-Fairs platform. Students will upload their winning projects, including a digital display board and video presentation. I'm also excited to invite everyone to the CJUSD Science and Engineering Fair Awards Ceremony, which will take place on Tuesday, January 28th at 5:30 p.m. in the Bloomington High School Theater, or we might be moving to Colton High. Colton, okay. All right, like I said, Colton High School, NPR, so we'll make sure we get that up. Colton High, yes. So during the ceremony, students will be recognized with trophies, medals, and opportunities to advance to the San Bernardino, Inyo, and Mono counties SIM, Science and Engineering Fairs. So I look forward to seeing the creativity and hard work of our students on display on Saturday morning. So next slide, it's time for Community Cabinet. I know we're excited about that, and we're calling it a Garden of Hope. I know Katie's excited. Again, it's going to be named a Garden of Hope. We invite all parents, community members, and local business to join us for a Garden of Hope, our upcoming Community Cabinet event. The date is Wednesday, February 19th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and it's going to be right here in the Professional Learning Center. This meeting will spotlight wellness initiatives across CJUSD. Attendees will learn how we are planting the seeds for a healthier future through innovative mental health programs. Inspiring activities will take place, and we will make meaningful connections. We encourage everyone to join us, meet district leaders, and connect with others who share our commitment to building a stronger and healthier community. So we have some fun stuff planned, right, Katie? Some great stuff. Thanks to Eric Perez. Last thing I want to do is thank everyone. On behalf of the Board of Education, I just want to extend my sincerest thoughts to all who have been affected by the recent fires in Los Angeles, Pasadena. I know we have a lot of friends and connections out there. Many of our staff members and parents have loved ones impacted by these devastating events. So our thoughts are with you and with the brave firefighters, emergency personnel, and community leaders working tirelessly in these challenging times. I would also like to express my deep gratitude to our employees who went above and beyond to ensure the safety of our students during this crisis that we experienced through the outages. Despite power outages at several sites, your dedication, grace, and patience made a significant difference, and it still continues because we're still going through some of that. So honestly, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the Board of Education, thank you for your unwavering support, your teamwork during these challenging times, and just appreciate all of you. So that's my report this evening, Board President.
Thank you, Dr. Miranda. We appreciate that. Next on our agenda are board member comments. So we'll go ahead and begin with Board Member Sandoval. No comment? No, thank you. Okay. Board Member Flores? No comment. Board Member Fuentes?
You know I have a comment. Hello, everyone, and welcome again. Thank you for coming out this evening. I know the winds are out there again and all of that stuff, and you heard what Dr. Miranda said. Some of our friends, I have some friends that live in Pasadena that lost their home. And, it's tough when things like this happen, but, let's keep them in prayer. Let's keep them in our prayers, and whatever you can do to help those families out, please do. Please help them out as much as you can. And I've told them, that my house is open. I got an extra room. They can stay as long as they want. So the opportunities are there that we can do that. And again, I think Dr. Miranda said, remember, it's not going to happen at Bloomington High. It's going to happen at Colton High. It's our Science and Engineering Fair. For those parents that are listening in Spanish, la Feria de Ingeniería y Ciencias no va a ser en Bloomington, va a ser en Colton High School a las 8:30. Entonces, si están escuchando por YouTube, no se les olvide, ahí los esperamos. El lonche va a ser prohibido por el distrito, entonces venga a comer tacos. Everybody knew what that word was, right? Tacos. So, just wanted to, I was out Friday at Ruth O'Hara's, and they were celebrating the CAS scores, meeting and exceeding. And it was exciting. I know Bertha was there, Board Member Flores was there, and they made it a black tie event. Wow. They rolled out the red carpet, and everyone that showed up was looking sharp. I mean, it was just an extraordinary event to be able to see these young men and women, the future of our country, exceed and meet, or even get a perfect score. And congratulations to all of them. Congratulations to all of the students in the district for meeting, exceeding, and getting perfect scores. Congratulations to the schools that exceeded their numbers, went up percentages. And it's a team effort, everyone. It's a team effort, and every time I see things like that, I get excited. I get very excited to see numbers, to see the dashboard, the way it looks. I mean, it's just an exciting time. And just congratulations to each and every one of you, to all of our administrative personnel, our staff, our teachers, everyone. Thank you again for what you do, making sure that our students are getting educated and then they're receiving what they need to do to learn to read, to do math, science, etc. One other thing before I finish, I just want to reiterate that our students will always be safe. It doesn't matter what events might happen. Power might go out, there might be a fire, an earthquake. It does not matter. I guarantee to you and those listening that there is always a plan. There is always a plan. We put students first in everything. Safety is a priority. Nutrition is a priority. Education is a priority. For our students to achieve, they need to have all of that. And, you know, sometimes people don't understand. They think that we don't do things, but we do. I can tell you right now that I saw Phil at Bloomington High. You know, I'm walking in, and he's walking out, and he's telling me, hey, Mr. Fuentes, we're doing this, we're doing that. And I go, Phil, I know you're doing everything that needs to be done. Our safety is always out there. Our SROs are always out there. They even had an earthquake drill at Bloomington High School, even with the winds going. They still had the drill. Congratulations, Ms. Roman. And they did well, because when I showed up at the school, all the doors were closed and everything. I couldn't get in, and Phil's the one who let me in. And but, you know, it's exciting that things are still happening. No matter if there's electricity, no electricity, we want to make sure that our students are safe, and they will always be safe. Whenever they're on our school grounds, they will always be safe, and I can guarantee you that. I will put my hands in fire if I need to, but our students will always be safe. Our safety officers are trained. Our SROs are trained. Everyone is trained. Our teachers are trained. I went to the active shooter training, and there was teachers. They even had a church there. I think it was Colton First that was there for the training also. So there's opportunities. I can't reiterate it more, that our students will always be safe. I had my girls in the district for all of their schooling, and they were always safe. I would always tell my wife, they're fine. They're fine. I don't need to go to the school. They're fine. Why? I guarantee, like I said, I'll put my hands in the fire if I have to guarantee that our students will always be safe, because our priority is putting our students first. Have a great week. For the rest of the week, have a great weekend. God bless you all.
Thank you, Board Member Fuentes. Board Member Haro. No, you can do it. We'll do it after. Yeah.
So just for my board member comments, I just want to say a special thank you to our science fair team, but especially Jesus Delgado and Consuelo Guerrero for being so on the ball and being able to pivot and move, you know, the science fair from Bloomington High School to Colton High School in a couple days. And to everyone else who helped. I mean, it helped that they've already, as I was talking to them, we've already had one science fair at, you know, we were trying to do one at every high school, and because of the wind, weren't sure if we're going to have power at Bloomington on Saturday. So it was decided like within 2 days ago, I think. and to move it. And because it had already been at Colton High School once before, they already had a layout of what they used because they just held on to it to use it for the next time it was there, not knowing it was going to be this quick. And so they've just done a fabulous job in getting ready for Saturday. I'm excited. We are building the program back up because this year there's over 100 projects. I want to thank the schools who had me out to prejudge and help pick the projects that are moving on. I'm getting pretty good at that after all these years. So I kind of can spot a winner when I see it, and saw some great projects out there. So I know that my husband and I are looking forward to judging now. And I won't say how many years, but it's been a while. So I'm just really looking forward to the event on Saturday. So thank you to everyone who had a part in it, from, M&O, everybody who's setting it up, everything, because it's not just, it takes so many people. And so I just wanted to say thank you that we're keeping this going, because it's a very important thing for our kids, and they're learning a lot. And especially now that we're going to have science on the dashboard, it's a good time to be going in an upward swing. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Board Member Haro. And I simply want to wish everybody well, and I hope everybody is safe and staying safe. This has been a very surreal time, I think, with respect to what we're seeing in the fires in Los Angeles. Probably all of us know somebody that's been affected, whether evacuated, lost a home, or been impacted in some way, shape, or form. And over the holiday, we had a minor flood in our house, and it was a plumbing issue, and it felt like it was such a big deal because bathroom's not working, the water's off. And my wife and I just looked on the television and saw people losing their homes, burning to the ground, everything that they built and worked hard for. So, and trust me, in that moment, all of our problems paled in comparison, and we just felt so grateful to be safe, to have our home, and our hearts obviously go out to them. So the fires are not over. There's more, Castaic and others. So, and we've had our own local fires pop up here and there. In San Bernardino, we had one just the other day. Out in Riverside, Eastvale, there was one. So stay safe. And I hope, as challenging as life can be, sometimes it helps to just put things in perspective and realize how grateful and how privileged and how blessed we really are. So I hope all of you feel that way. I hope you're safe. And again, if there's something that you need, reach out, let us know. If we can help, I know that we will. And it's something that we're committed to. So, sure, absolutely.
And I forgot to say this, just if you can please keep the mayor of Colton in prayer. His wife passed away yesterday. So if we can keep him in prayer, I would gladly appreciate it. And I was talking to a friend of his earlier today, and he's doing okay. But if we can keep him in prayer, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have to share some other news. Many of you know that on December 31st, we did lose a member of our Colton Joint Unified School District family. And that's an understatement. I mean, she was a matriarch of our family. I think we may have a photo that we can share. And that, of course, is our very own Ingrid Munsterman. Many of you probably know Ingrid and worked with her. Ingrid started with the district in 1982. She worked through 2021, so we're going to round up to 40 because she was just literally days away. So 40 years of service to the school district, to our students, our families. Started in the classroom, taught at Wilson Elementary, and from her time at Grimes and all the way up to her time as an assistant superintendent of human resources working in the district office. She never lost that passion for students and for the families that we served. We are going to miss her dearly. Her husband, Patrick, again, many of you may have known, who preceded her in passing, had 27 years with the school district. So they were a power couple in this district, and just beautiful people. Outside of the work that they did, they were beautiful people. And we're going to certainly miss her very much. So I will like to give Ms. Haro an opportunity to share some words. I know that you knew Ingrid quite well, and so I want to offer you an opportunity to say a few things. Please, Mrs. Haro.
Yeah. So my husband and I, every year, we spend New Year's like 3 or 4 days at the Disneyland Resort. And it's our way to, we don't go into the park, but we say goodbye to the past year and everything that's happened, and we welcome in the new year. This year, on the 31st, we were getting ready to go to breakfast, and I got a phone call letting me know about Ingrid's passing. I first got to know Ingrid, and I posted some of this on social media. I first got to know her before I was a board member. I was a parent in this district, and we were fighting for an elementary school that my daughter went to. Parents were angry, and I talked to her, and she goes, well, we're going to come out to the school and see what we can do to work with the parents and work with the teachers. And she came out. She listened to the parents and the teachers with compassion, a trait that I later learned she had as a teacher, as an assistant principal, a principal, and later in her HR positions. When I became a board member, we always kept it professional when it needed to be, but we also became friends. I remember times when we'd meet up with Lori Carlton, and we would all go see Patrick playing in his band. He played 80s music, and we would all go and just sit there and listen to music. And oddly enough, as most of us know, Ingrid's favorite color was purple, but she hated the song Purple Haze. We always enjoyed these times together of music and laughter. Ingrid truly loved CJUSD, and she loved the kids we served. HR is a tough job, but she handled her job with care for the employees she was entrusted with. She listened. She never judged. She gave 40 years to the district she loved. I'll miss our monthly lunches, our talks, and my special friend. But after she left CJUSD, she didn't stop teaching. She started working with adults and kids who didn't know how to read or write or speak English. Because Ingrid spent time in Mexico and mastered the language. And so she was teaching them how to learn to speak English to be able to succeed in school. And to parents who needed to learn how to speak English so that they could help their kids with their schoolwork. My heart is sad losing my friend. But I take solace knowing she is with Patrick, the love of her life, and that she is happily in his loving arms. This alone makes me smile. There were over 200 comments on my Facebook message, many who knew Ingrid for those 40 years. I had a student, a former student from the Colton Joint Unified, whose grandmother is in a retirement home. And I don't know how, but she found out that Ingrid had passed and who contacted me. So I wanted to just share a couple of the comments that people have written. It says, one is, "Dear lady, she was wise and kind and will be missed. She helped me out so much through the years. Still in shock over Ingrid's passing. She was such a wonderful person. She was definitely one of the best. She had the perfect amount of love and compassion, mixed with the perfect amount of take no crap. I loved her calmness and kindness, and may she rest in peace. I am sad to learn of Ingrid Munsterman's passing. She was a caring person of great integrity. Ingrid truly represented what CJ used to be, thoughtful and sincerely cared about people. She always sent get well cards and sympathy cards to employees and was genuinely mindful of the human in human resources. No one can ever replace her. She used to always say, HR was the heart of this district. But I think she was. My quote this evening: everyone in your life will have a last day with you, and you don't even know when it'll be. Cherish them before it's too late. You'll be missed, Ingrid.
Thank you for that beautiful tribute, Pat. We appreciate that. We will go ahead and take a moment of silence in memory of Ingrid, and then we will adjourn our meeting in her honor. So please join me in a brief moment of silence in memory of Ingrid. Thank you. We will adjourn to closed session. reconvene this meeting of the Colton Joe Unified School District Board of Education. And we have some reportable items from closed session, so we will go ahead and begin with item 10.1, our personnel public employee appointment discipline dismissal release. On a motion by Board Member Fuentes and seconded by Board Member Haro, and carried on a 5-0 vote with no abstentions, the board voted to terminate employee number 11823. The board voted that the action be effective immediately. Item 10.2, this is our student discipline item, so we'll vote on this out here. There were three recommendations to There are three recommendations to deny readmission for 3 students presented in closed session. In accordance with California Ed Code 48916, an expulsion order shall remain in effect until the governing board, in a manner described in this article, orders the readmission of a pupil. The 3 students have been expelled from the Colton Joe Unified School District for a violation of California Ed Code 48900 or 48915. The students' cases were reviewed by an administrator in Department of Student Services, and upon review have not completed their plan of rehabilitation as directed by the Board of Education and are not recommended for readmission. Is there a motion to deny readmission of the 3 students as presented? All right, a motion by Board Member Fuentes. Is there a second? We'll go second with Board Member Sandoval. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so ordered, 5-0. Student ID numbers. Yep. Student ID numbers are listed as follows: 1050689, 1046939, and 1082375. Great, thank you for that. And then our last reportable item is item 10.3. Again, this is another personal public employee item. On a motion by Board Member Fuentes and second by Board Member Haro, and carried on a 5-0 vote, the board approved the following, very quickly: certificated coaching 1, certificated regular staff 4, classified management 1, volunteer coaching 6, and 16 volunteers, all as listed on the agenda. That is the final item for today, so we'll go ahead and adjourn.